All right, we have taken apart, we've talked about locations of points in X and Y only at this section of the discussion. And we've looked at this and identified this here as point number 1. So I ask you then to do the next point, the next point, the next point in terms of X and Y coordinates. Ignore this column labeled G91 for the moment and just look at this column. This column expresses the points with their X and Y's based on the location from this center right here. So point number 1, very easy to find. We just count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, and it's up 5 units, so it's said to be at X minus 7 and Y 5. This point is 2 units over in X, but it's still up 5 in Y, so it's said to be at X minus 2, Y 5, then X3, Y 3, and so on. So hopefully your answers, as you were working this out, came to see these parts with these coordinates in this order. Now, just incidentally, the order that we define the points determines the path that our cutting tool will take when we do start machining this. So I just wanted you to note that. So this is actually the beginnings of a part program that says start here and now follow this path with something like an end mill in exactly this order. The end mill will follow your exact directions in the order that you specify them. Okay, here's another part that I would like you to look at and identify the points. Now, I'd like you to simply pick out any of these points and call it number 1, but then in that same order, please identify the X and Y locations of all your points after that. Also, you'll note that there's a circular radius right here. All you need to do at this section is to identify the beginning and ending point of that arc. So if you're coming in this direction, this is a 90-degree arc. This point right here will be at x0, y minus 1. And then this point will be at x1, y minus 2. So I want you to get the rest of those. So please do that, and we'll come back to it in a few moments. Okay, what I'm going to do is just draw this part up on the board, and I'll set my points up, and we'll see where we are. So here's the coordinate system. And the part lives something like this. Okay, what I'd like to do is, just for clarification, how I'm going to do this, I'm going to call this point number 1 right here, and then I'll make this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 is the same as number 1. So based on my sample here, point 1 lives right here. That would be x minus 11, y plus 6. My next point is right here, which would be at x minus 6, y 6. Next point here is at x minus 4, y 4. This point is at x minus 4, y 1. This point is at x minus 8, y 1. This point is at x minus 8, y minus 2, 3, y minus 3. This point is at x minus 6, y minus 1. The beginning of this circle, as we said before, was at x0, y minus 1. The end of our circle was at x1, y minus 2. This point here is at x1, y minus 6. Coming over to this point is at x minus 12, y minus 6. And it comes up to a point right here, which is at x minus 11, y 4, and then back up to x minus 11, y 6. Now, as I mentioned before, the order that we express these points are going to be the order that we're going to machine this. In other words, our cutter will follow this path when it is executing the program that you'll type in. So at this point, what I'd like you to do is to look at this part. Again, this is one we looked at before. And stressing the order. And notice the formats, X values, Y values with decimal points. So in this case, our cutter path is going to be following this profile in this direction. So you remember from our discussion on milling that we're going to be, what? Climb milling. Because this is our direction, so our milling cutter is grabbing like this as our spindle is rotating. So we're going to have a part that will walk around in a climb cutting direction. I want you to create the part program in terms of X and Y values for this location here. Ignore this reference to G91. Start here and please follow these directions. So this is point 1, point 2, point 3, and so on. And you can ignore this, so there'll be, maybe you'll need to make a few more points. So let's wrap up this section, letting you think about this.